Hello, welcome to Doing Bar Things. I'm back again with another video for you, and today we're going to look at a part lists. This is basically what I've built or I'm trying to build. I'm kind of waiting for everything to come in. It's been a weird kind of roller coaster. I got originally a combo deal that had the 14900K, which is a crazy CPU. Honestly, I really think the only way you can open up the taps on that thing completely is if you were to do a custom water cooling loop. Which, if anybody's tried to price that stuff out, it's not cheap. It's cool, it's awesome, but it is not cheap, and it's not really in my my wheelhouse of budget. So it was going to be either I undercooled it, which would mean it was jumping to 100C on a 360 mil AIO. Not a bad one necessarily. It was the Lee and Lee Trinity 2. It just couldn't keep that thing under wraps. I mounted it a couple of times. Didn't seem to be working. Now, I did not get a frame. I did not get a contact frame for the 14900K. So full transparency, it could have been a little bit about me as well, because I didn't get a good seat and mount on the CPU, but I don't think it would have mattered. The wattage that it was putting out was 355 watts at 6.085 gigahertz, which is, that is a lot. That's more than my video card does. my RTX 3080 doesn't even put out that much, and video cards, if you know, like, they put out an enormous amount of heat, but that's why they're generally not clocked to something like 6 gigahertz. And so to get the most out of that CPU, I really felt like I would have had to go crazy with some sort of cooling solution that I was not prepared to afford. I ended up taking it back. The MSI motherboard was the Tomahawk Mag, which seemed like a decent enough motherboard. I did not like the network drivers for whatever reason. I don't know, that it was a little bit wonky, which is weird. It's weird that I prefer the AMD system. My little 5800X over here has been chugging along and still does so, and there's certain things that I actually like more about it, even though it was completely outclassed by the 14900K. I could show you the benchmarks. It was just it was a slaughter fest. There is no comparing a 5800X to a 14900K that's running at full tilt. It just, it's, the 14900K is a better processor, that's for sure. So that I want to kind of get out of the way. It's just, are you prepared to deal with the amount of heat? I recommended, it would have been maybe a year ago now, something like that, to a friend of mine. He was building, and he said, okay, I want to build an Intel system, what do I do? And I was like, listen, man, get the 13600K. Like, don't get the 13900K. You're kind of throwing money out. Like, even though you're getting a 4090, an RTX 4090, it's like that thing is going to carry the day for you. There's no reason to buy, for a gaming rig, a 14900K. It just seemed like massive overkill, or 1300K at the time, sorry. And he went with that bit of advice, and you know what, he's able to cool that thing. It pulls a decent amount of wattage. He's seen 260 watts, something like that, but not the 300 plus watts that I saw the 14900K, which, if you think about it, it makes sense. It's 24 cores of CPUs, so it's like 24 little CPUs bonded together. It's not really the greatest analogy, but it's something like that. And so, yeah, it's going to draw some power. It's going to make some heat. And I wasn't. It's like, man, this is cool. It's kind of like when you're a kid, you're really into muscle cars. You like the big block V8s and stuff. And as you get older, you're just like, I just don't want as much noise. I don't want to spend as much money. Just want to do what it's supposed to do. And in my case, I'm building a gaming machine, right? So I want to play games. I want to play games well. So maybe make a couple of recordings. I mean, I'm doing recordings in my 5800X. I think the 7800X 3D will do fine for that for now. Unless demands change, I think it'll be okay. So I took it back. I went with a 7800X 3D, and I thought I'd do a price part picker list so we could just look at the parts. This CPU is pretty cool under power. It's basically a quarter of the watts. Like, it basically will generate almost nothing compared to the 14900K. So I don't think that'll be a problem. And as a result, the cooler has gotten a little bit more mundane. So we've gone with a Deep Cool LT 520. I saw a video of somebody cooling a 7700X with this, and it looked like it was doing a pretty good job. I've heard decent things. We're going to give it a shot. I think the block on it looks cool with the squares and the RGB on it. So we'll see how that looks and performs. And for me, performance is number one. So don't worry about the pricing. Like, the pricing is not the same. I got my CPU from Micro Center. It was $349. The cooler was $99. The motherboard, so Newegg, and even if you look on Newegg's site right now, they're sold out, but they had this board for $239. So I got Micro Center to do a price match. Good for me. I got some Team Group DDR5 6000 CL30. Actually, hold on. Why am I'm starting telling you guys about this stuff. Hold on. Here, these are the easy parts to show you, so I'll just show you. How's that? Here's the Asus Strix. The 7800X 3D. Whoops. There you go. And the Team Group DDR5. Okay. One funny thing about this box is when you're in the store and you look at the box, it's like, I can't tell if this is black or white. And so the sales guy was having to like peek around there and use his phone flashlight to make sure that it was black. I was like, I mean, it's not that big a deal, but I'd rather, if it doesn't matter, then I'd rather have it match than not. So basically, I got a 4 terabyte SSD, an Asus TUF 1000 watt power supply. I'm curious about this. So this should be a really good gaming system. It should generate very little heat from the CPU. I should have no problem cooling that with the 240 millimeter AIO there. I've heard okay things about this motherboard. I don't think it's bad. It's Asus, which, as much as I think they maybe fallen down a couple times with their support and stuff, I think that they are a brand that I recognize and trust for their motherboards. Team Group is going to be new. I've not messed with Team Group memory that much. I do have some Team Group memory in the build I've got today, but I haven't really tried to tweak it that much or anything. I just threw Expo on and let it do its thing. I didn't get the Crucial. I got the Inland, which is the house brand for Micro Center, 4 terabyte SSD. We'll see how that goes. I've been using one. It seemed to be fine. I'm just not a big storage nut. I tend to just want something that works good and gives me enough room to put all my games. That's pretty much where my line is, or to put my recordings now, because I do recordings. So that's kind of the thing today, right? Now, interesting. To me, the most interesting part of the build, which is weird probably to some folks, but it's the case. So this is all right. This is, oh man. All right. Are you ready for the name? The name. Geometric Future. If you ever watch this, like, do something about your naming convention, because just saying it made my wife cringe at me. The Geometric Future M4 King Arthur Black. How's about just Geometric Future M4? Maybe just stop there, you know, and then put the color or something. You know, you don't got to get all King Arthur-y about this. Like, that's not required. It's just weird, man. It's just weird. But a couple things about this enclosure. First off, it's very compact, which I like. It's going to be sitting on my desk, and I don't want it to take up a lot of room. Next thing I like is the ports are on the front as well as the power button, which is good. So that means I can reach all that stuff from where I'm sitting. I don't have to put my hand up on top of the case and guess, is this here, is it that there, blah, blah, blah. It's right there where I can see it, so that's good. It seems, at least the few videos and things I have found about it, it cools okay. It cools decently. There is no fan here in this front mesh. This is just an open mesh area that allows air to waft in. It can mount 3 120s in the bottom, and you can get 2 120s or 2 140s. Well, apologies. 3 120s in the bottom, 2 140s, or you can also get a 120 in the rear, two 120s in the top, or 2 140s in the top. You can put a 240 AIO, but you cannot put a 280 AIO, supposedly. So there's that then. Now, one thing I want to correct their materials on as well. This ought to be a really fun time with me putting this case together. I'm hoping that I can just grab my phone or something and make a video of certain things as I look at this, because you guys will have fun with me going, why did they do this? There's a lot of screws from the video I've seen. It's a pretty complex case, but it comes out looking all right. But one thing that their materials do that I'm just laughing at is, guys, do not mount your radiator this way. If you have an AIO, okay, a custom liquid cooling loop is different, all right? If you buy the pump, the radiator, the reservoir, all separately, right? And you're putting tubes in yourself and you're connecting everything, that is different. That is not the same as an AIO. In an AIO, the pump is located on the block, okay? The thing that actually bolts onto the CPU, 9 times out of 10, they're all licensed out from the same company called Asetek. They actually have I think it's a patent on that, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, they license that company to make these things for them. They put in their order and say, we want it custom this way, and they order them in units of whatever. The pump is usually on the CPU block, okay? You do not want a pump to be the highest point of your loop, ever. Not even in a custom loop, technically. But custom loops have a way of dealing with this. You don't want, because what happens is air is going to go the highest point, all right? Air bubbles rise in fluid. So air is going to go the highest point. So what happens in this is the few little tiny air bubbles that may be in there, they float up to the top, they get stuck in your pump, and your pump gets ruined. And that's what happens. Your pump will last like 6 months when it's supposed to last like 8 years, you know, or 12 years, whatever. So do not mount your AIO this way, all right? There are some that have the pump actually on the radiator, and in that case, it's okay. Just make sure that that pump is not the highest point in your loop. That's the key, all right? You may get some gurgling noises, like if this pump was upright, where the tubes kind of go up, you know, away from the pump, and the top of the radiator is up here, but the tubes are kind of high, you know. You may get some gurgling once in a while. That's kind of okay. You can try move the case around a little bit and see if you can work that out. But the key is, do not allow the pump to be the highest point. That's all that matters. In a custom loop situation, you'll have a reservoir on top of the pump, which will put water above the pump. So you're okay. You can put it at the highest point. It's fine as long as it's got that water above the pump. But in an AIO, that's not how it works. So just be conscious of that. this is very misleading, in my opinion, potentially misleading picture here. I understand they want to advertise they can fit a 360 mil radiator in the bottom because that's more fun than fitting just a 240 in the roof. But a 240 is playing for my build, and that's what I'm going for. So, yes, this is going to be an interesting build. The power supply mounts up in the top or the side, depending on how you want to orientate it. Yeah, so we'll see. That's going to be interesting. Can fit massive video cards. You have 405 millimeters of video card length room in there, so it could absolutely fit the Strix ROG 4090 or 4080 if you wanted to do that. So that's good. So we'll have to see what that does. I believe a lot of the stuff should come in like on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to do some building and then maybe make a video. Hopefully we'll get that out to you guys. So anyway, that was it. Just a quick update on my build and kind of some things I selected. I may do another news video sometime this week. We'll see. Any questions, comments, queries, feel free to post them. Like and subscribe if you want to. That would be awesome. Other than that, just have a great day and keep on keeping on.